All right. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. I gotta know if you can hear me in the chat before we get started, because yeah. All right. You can hear me, and that's a good sign, because finally, here we are. I have been trying over the last few days to get OBS figured out, and multiple cameras, and getting everything figured out, because what we're going to be doing now, finally, we can look through some books together in real time, and I'm very excited about that. This has been something that I've wanted to figure out for a while, and it's been very daunting, and trying to learn any new thing. When I have kids constantly trying to grab my attention, yeah, it took me a minute to get around to finally figuring everything out. I did have issues where OBS just wouldn't launch at all for like a week, so we're back in business. Appreciate y'all being here. Let me get this moved over so I can see the chat. That's the other thing. Right now, at least it's not showing it for me at the moment in OBS, being able to see the chat. Seems like I need to have both things open at the same time, just a separate window just to keep the chat open. But that's what we got to do. It's what we got to do. We'll figure it out as we go, like anything. Let's see. I thought this was a palm reading episode. I don't think you'd want to read mine. How cold is it in the barn? It's unfortunately getting cold again. We had a couple nice days, one really, really nice day. And I was able to actually open the doors up, and Nora wanted to take the golf cart for a ride, and it made it about 20 yards out, and then it was completely dead. We obviously haven't been charging it up, so I had to push it back into the barn and get it charged up. But finally I was able to pull some of the bigger things out of the barn and actually make some progress on somewhat organizing the chaos over there. Matt Marash. Look at the absolute legend. He says, always good to set up the YouTube chat and a pop-up window and create a preset that watches for that pop-up. Matt, I might have some IT questions for you sometime after the stream. Maybe I'll shoot you a text or an email or something. That'd be super helpful. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad you're here. 65 degrees and rainy here in Nashville. Monday it got up to 76. Yeah, that I think it was Monday. That Sunday or Monday was really nice here. I can't remember which day it was, but it's been raining all day today. Not a fun time. Vincent, what's up, dude? Jeremy, James, Matt. Good to see everybody here. Multicam setup loading. We are here. Speaking of which, what books do you guys want to look at? We've got quite a bit back here, and I guess, I wasn't sure where we wanted to start, so I thought I would just let you shout out some recommendations. If anyone has anything specific they want to see, let me know, and we can just start going off the shelf here and start looking at things together. I'm super hyped for this. I was talking about it with a friend today, and just talking about like being excited to finally be able to do this. When people come over and we're talking about photography, no matter what we're talking about, I immediately I'm like, oh, I got to show you this book. This will be perfect for you. So this is the kind of thing that I want to be able to do with all of you. You don't have the contact sheet or contact high. Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, to follow up on the Magnum contact sheets video that I just did, I was going to do a follow-up video on contact high. We'll go ahead and do that together here right now. Matt Soch, however it's pronounced, thank you so much for joining, being a channel member. I appreciate you. I see this question. What's up? 1 month, 2 cameras. Anything from Sage Sawyer. All right. Oh, you know where it hits me. Let's start with, we're going to start with contact high, and then after that we'll get some Sage Sawyer. Contact, here we go. All right. So, look at this. I can just come over here. Oh, beautiful. Love it. This is a relatively big book, so it's taken up a lot of space. Oh God, I don't want to. I almost knocked my my capture HDMI setup here. I don't want to disconnect that. If the camera goes down, remember, we've been through this before. We've weathered the storm. We can do this together. Let's see. Let me check up. Soch, shortened last name. Oh, right on. I've seen the exhibit in person in Seattle. Oh, man. Dennis Hopper's Polaroids. No, I don't have that, but that sounds incredible. Hey, what's up? I hardly ever chat in any chat, but I wanted to say what's up here. Hey, thank you for being here. All right. Contact High, Visual History of Hip Hop. This book is, well, you know what it is, but let's just take a look at it together. And let me know any feedback on how is this coming across on stream. Exposure-wise, how are we looking? Is that looking all right to everybody? This is, you know, it's going to give you some insight into the photos that are actually in the book, but you know what? We're just going to jump in. I made a video about Magnum contact sheets, which, if you don't know, this is essentially all, well, not this particular book, it's all about hip-hop, but Magnum contact sheets, some glare. Yeah, let me see if I can work on that real quick. Little bit better there. Little bit, slightly. Maybe it's just that softbox there. There we go. Anyway, contact sheets. If you're not familiar with them, I just did a full book on, or a full video on the Magnum contact sheets book. This one in particular, all about hip hop, but the contact sheet giving you so much more context into, you know, the specific. Oftentimes it's like you'll see the iconic photo, and being able to see the contact sheet, being able to see the photos that didn't work out, you know, things like that, sort of the outtakes. Always cool to see that kind of stuff. Just reading the chat here. Jason Lee's new book. I believe I have, I think my copy of that came in, if I remember right. That's one of the more recent books, so it's one that I haven't taken the proper time yet. Yeah, Michael, this is Contact High. A lot of this kind of stuff, especially with music, you know, this right here, just in a bathroom stall. So much of, Well, we could take a look at it. Danny Clinch, Still Moving. Is that what it's called? If I remember right. Yeah. Yeah, Still Moving by Danny Clinch. Think about some of these iconic artists that they get, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes less than that. They get time with them to shoot a photo. Not a setting like this in a studio, but sometimes it's just backstage real quick, and yeah, you work with what you got. Glennie Friedman. Yeah, so asking about Sharpies and stuff, like making marks on the contact sheets. Believe I've heard people call them grease pencils, China markers, or China pencils. I've heard people call them a million different things, but it's something to that effect. Yeah, oftentimes they would use those to mark up contact sheets for selecting photos, making kind of crop marks, or just notes for notes for themselves in the future, notes for printing, things like that. I used to use a metallic Sharpie on mine from time to time, but it didn't really work that well. Once the tip kind of starts to wear out, it was just not super legible. Ricky Powell. That's one thing that all of the slide film I've shot over the years, I've never mounted any of my slides. Vincent, I couldn't remember. Did you have contact sheet when you took photos of Killer Mike? Oh no, that was all Polaroid. The only thing I used when I got a photo of him was, what was I using at the time? I think it was my Mint SLR 670, the modded SX70. I think so anyway, if I remember right. The i2 hadn't come out yet. No. So yeah, I was using the modded SX70. I wish I would have had more time. I was there on that music video shoot just to assist, and I was just kind of hanging out, helping with lighting. I did a couple coffee runs for Jamie LP. But yeah, Killer Mike, Jamie had already left after we filmed his portion of the video, and so then Killer Mike was there, and I just managed to grab a couple quick photos. It took all of 30 seconds basically at the end of the day, right before we wrapped up. So I kind of liked, I think I just had that and a digital camera with me, but I only grabbed the Polaroid because I wanted it to be that, like, this is the one and only copy I've got, Easy E down at Venice Beach. Oh, Glenn has a new book coming out. I didn't know that. Good looking out. Glennie Friedman. Local Lab was able to do black and white contact sheets, and I've been getting back into getting those done. I'd love to make some of my own in the darkroom. Oh yeah, it's so much fun. As a matter of fact, this Friday, my good friend Corey is bringing back my old enlarger, and he said a few other things. I don't remember what all I sold him when I sold him my enlarger, but it was, I want to say, around 2018. I know that the darkroom itself, like being set up as my darkroom, it had already been taken down or disassembled for probably a couple of years at that point. But yeah, I sold that to Corey back in 2018, and he's bringing that back. I bought it back from him. He's bringing that over on Friday, I believe. And I still don't know exactly where I'm going to be setting the darkroom up, but it's not going to be right away. So it's going to be a while before I get to use it, but I'm excited to be printing again. It has been I want to say since 2021, since I've printed in the darkroom, which is a long time. Yeah, that's the same one. The very first videos on the channel, and my videos on black and white developing and all of that. Yeah, the old spare bathroom at our old house. That was my dark room. I used to love being in there every Sunday. That was sort of like my routine, and yeah, so much fun. As a matter of, I wonder if I can find some. I can probably find some that we can go through here sometime. The Bismarck E-doll. Yeah, this is a good one, and this is a really dense book. You can see we're barely, you know, we've barely put a dent in it as we've been flipping through this one. It's a lot. One of my all-time favorites, A Tribe Called Quest. Elliot is also a Tribe Called Quest fan. He was going to preschool singing Can I Kick It? So that was one of my first proud dad moments. That was several years ago when he was real little. Very first video I saw was your black and white processing video when I was in college. I remember thinking, this Matt Day guy is super chill. That's amazing. I'm glad you think that. I tell you, man, back then I was not comfortable at all in front of the camera, and I think now I'm still uncomfortable, but I can at least, you know, kind of, I don't know, stumble my way forward, I guess. And back then, man, it was a struggle. So when I go back and I see those videos now, I'm like, yeah, I don't know how anybody made it, you know, longer than 20 seconds in, but I appreciate all of you. Wonder what these were shot with. Wonder if it was with an X-Pan or some sort of panoramic. You can see here, obviously, doesn't always work out. Richard, happy Wednesday. Good to see you, man. That's where Leica lenses make the most sense. I've never been able to make prints in the darkroom better than ones from negatives that come from a Leica M. It's funny you say that. The very first photo, or the very first roll of film I put through the Leica 35 Summicron in my M6, like the very first one I got, that roll, I took it home and made a massive, like 16 by 20 print of Molly from that roll, and it just looked amazing. I wonder if I need, or I wonder if I still have, I'll have to look through those. I want to do a video where we go through all the old darkroom prints. Looks like a 6x12 camera. Oh yeah, good call. Good looking out. That probably is, yeah, 6x12, I'd say. I wonder what kind. I don't know. But yeah, that one there. These were very iconic photos. Glennie Friedman had a 9 Club episode that was super good. This is Contact High, a visual history of hip-hop. Lot of different photographers, but it's curated, I guess, Vicky Toback. That would be the artist name you'd find it under. But essentially a book, a lot of hip-hop photography, and sharing the contact sheets and a little bit of info into the photos themselves. Dr. Dre. See this one here where someone was asking earlier about what they were using to mark up the contact sheets. This looks like just a straight up Sharpie. So again, China markers, Sharpies, use whatever you got. Sometimes people would take little like colored stickers, like, you know, little circles and stuff that you'd get like on a sheet. You can take those and peel a sticker off and stick it on certain ones. I used to take the little tiny Post-it notes, and in my sheet of film, I wouldn't place it on the actual film itself, but on my like Bessler print file pages, I would just slap one of the little short Post-it notes, place it over any that I knew I would want to come back to print, and that was just an easy way of not having contact sheets made for every single roll, especially rolls that I had shot like years before I had my darkroom. That was just an easy way for me to mark up things for future reference without having an actual contact sheet. I used a red Sharpie, which looked all right, but didn't have the look. Yeah, I get that for sure. Have you seen T. Eric Monroe's book, Rare and Unseen Moments of 90s Hip Hop? No, I haven't, but that sounds awesome. Definitely sounds like something I would be into. I'll have to look into that. Tupac on the set of Juice. Andre Cohen's. Speaking of this, I'm looking. I'm sitting here looking at the film and seeing what they were shooting with. I mentioned on, I can't remember which. I think it was last week. I mentioned I've been watching Better Call Saul, and they had a darkroom, episode. Not a whole episode in the darkroom, obviously, but there was an episode where they spent quite a bit of time in the darkroom and making prints and stuff. Hearing them talk about which film they were going to use when they were shooting the black and whites, I figure any photography nerds, I get why people, would always talk about that, and talk about that show being not just visually interesting, but there's a lot of stuff for any photography or film nerds would be into. Edward, dang, just seeing this makes me want to go crazy with film. It's fun, man. It's that side of it is a big part of what makes it so fun. The convenience of scanning the film versus printing in the darkroom and everything. And I don't shoot nearly as much film as I used to. But man, it's hard to compare to anything else, We keep, even if it's not, what we use for everything, there's a reason we can't. What's that, the Brokeback Mountain meme? Just can't seem to quit you, or whatever he says. That's how we feel about film. Iconic one right here. Now I have to go watch Juice later. Hell yeah. That's why we love these books. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. If I can't be in my darkroom making prints all the time and making contact sheets, at least I can live vicariously through these people. Lisa Leone. These are super cool. That is a young Snoop Dogg. First video shoot, 1993. That's amazing. His first video shoot, and it says the Bronx-born photographer and filmmaker. Someone from New York shooting it. Danny Clinch. These are in Still Moving. This is definitely some of the most famous photos of Tupac, or at least iconic photos, the photos that people always remember. Danny Clinch is incredible. Just as a portrait photographer in general, but for all of the film nerds who might be watching, if you love seeing, this is, I'm guessing this is type 55. I never shot any of the large format peel apart film. Matt Marash, sound off in the comments or in the chat if you're still with us. This looks like type 55, but it could have been any of those black and white, I guess. Regardless, if you love seeing this kind of stuff, you love seeing these contact sheets, let me grab Danny Clinch's book. This was one of the first books I probably talked about on the channel. It's been out for quite a while, probably 2014-ish, 2015 maybe. Thanks for letting me borrow your book. I love you. P.S. Where's my large format portrait? I don't think I ever saw this. Trent Brown. I must have let him borrow this book at some point. Hey, it's a great book. Let me find... Here we go. You mean the bucket part. The bucket part. Wait. I'm confused. What did I say? The bucket part? What was I talking about? You got me confused now. I can't remember what I was talking about before I found that note. If you can only recommend one book in your collection, which would it be? Or Desert Island book? Oh, man. Oh, yeah. For clearing the negative for Type 55. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, if you like seeing the film borders and contact sheets and all of that kind of stuff, Danny Clinch, a lot of his stuff, you'll see he shoots all kinds of different formats. Let me find some more here. Here's some. You'll get some extra contact sheets in this book as well. This is one of him with Bruce Springsteen. A lot of great stuff, though. Let me see. Don't ignore that IOU. You owe a large format portrait. Yes, I do. Really, really great book. And it's a dense one as well. Music fans and film nerds. There's a lot to love in this book here. So, Danny Clinch, still moving. It's been out for a long time. I have no idea what the availability is on it, but it's a good one. Let's see here. Beastie Boys Hasselblad picture is a gem in the Clinch book. Oh, yeah, for sure. Edward, let me get back to that again. If I could only recommend one book, it would probably be Elliot Erwitt Dogs, just because it would make me happy. Simply for that reason only. Like, if I could only have one book, I would want it to be one that would make me happy, and that one always makes me laugh. But I don't know. That's tough. To never, or to only have one, I don't know. Very tough. But how are we feeling? Do you guys want to keep looking at Contact High? Do you want to look on to Sage Sawyer, as that was recommended? Because we've got quite a bit of Sage Sawyer, and I'm always in the mood for that. Sage, the people have spoken. All right. Let you write that down. We're going to take a look at animals. This is one... Actually, this was my very first, this was my introduction to Sage Sawyer when this book came out. This was published in maybe 2021, if I had to guess, by Stanley Barker. It's the Colophon. Oh, I skipped one. 2019. Okay. When this book came out, this was my introduction to Sage Sawyer, and she is incredible. This book just made its way back to me. Polly B was looking for some Sage Sawyer books, so I sent him a few for a little extended loan. So Polly returned these along with some nice prints, and I haven't looked through this one in a while, so let's do that. Let me adjust my lens here. I want you guys to see these as close as you can, but a little bit of information about the book. Kind of gives context into her relationship with animals, and these are all different people that she, you know, like most of her books, the people she would come across and photograph, a lot of these, the animals themselves. And if I remember right, yeah, there are some that span across. I was going to zoom in extra close if they were all on the right, but there are double spreads here. You should check out the library at RIT sometime if you were into photo books and ever that way up in New York. I would love nothing more than to check that out. So good. It's so simple, but I love it. See, you've got all four of these tiny dogs sitting together here on the chair. And like, maybe your instinct would be to frame them up just by themselves. Like, that's your shot right there. You know what I mean? Just this right here. Maybe that's what your instinct would be, but choosing to include the owner back here, the other dog who is clearly not invited, that's the shot right there, you know? I feel like even at times, and a lot of it comes down to her using a really wide lens, but even at times when it seems like she's so close and in this intimate setting, it still feels like she took a step back right before she took the photo, if that makes sense. Like, you're getting enough context while it still doesn't feel like she's, you know, too far away just viewing. Yeah, she used, it was a Fuji rangefinder. There's a video on my channel where I talked to Sage all about just her practice in general and making books and photographing people. Yeah, 28-ish. It was a 28 equivalent, whatever that would be on the 6x9 rangefinder she was using. She talked about using a small Leica 28 millimeter viewfinder, the kind that you would put on the cold shoe of the old Leica M's before they had 28 frame lines. She would put that on the Fuji rangefinder because that gave her a better representation of what the actual lens was going to give her compared to the viewfinder that was built into that rangefinder. So Sage is the best. She's so sweet and so just incredibly talented. Definitely check that video out if you're interested in her work. She's very, very insightful. This is one of my all-time favorites. I love this one. Their expressions, neither of them looking directly at the camera, but having this like really somber kind of expression. It's so good. The light, the shadows right here. Yeah. Yeah, these photos are so tender. Yeah, well said. That's exactly... She has such a like calm and very sweet personality, and it comes through in the photos and the people that she photographs really well. And at times, you know, there are photos that she's made where it's these big sort of moments and big expressions, but it always just feels like it's, you can tell where she's coming from, or at least where the it's never from a sense of judgment or anything. Her photos just feel very kind. You can feel her intention, I guess. This photo is also on the cover of another one of her books. This one right here. Oh, sorry. It's the same couple, not the same photo. I think this photo is on the back cover, maybe? Yeah. Same couple, same family. At home with themselves, same-sex couples in 1980s America. Amazing book as well. Definitely check this one out. But I love this one as well. Little terrier Jack Russell of some kind, maybe. In the giant hammock. Tyler, what's up, dude? Another. Oh, that light. All that light just bouncing off the snow. Everything is just like glowing. So good. These are the kind of photos that I feel like when you think of Sage Sawyer, a lot of groups of people all kind of gathered together. Love it. Yeah. Absolutely filling the frame. Just the little, as simple as that, just resting the arm up there. Oh, it's so good. It, like blending in with the tree here and right in the middle of the frame. Sort of mirroring the hand here. And you can even see the motion blur. This was taken, you know, stopping the lens down, getting as much in focus as she could. She talked about that in the video as well. It's ridiculous how it just works every time. Yeah, that is exactly how I feel. Every time I look at her work, I'm like, man, must be nice. The clothes hanging here, I can't remember. I feel like it's an American Scene. I don't think it's in this book. But it reminds me of another one of her photos. Hell, it could have been taken the same place, just from a different perspective. Yeah. She's so good. Would like to see the pictures around the selects. She should do a contact sheet book. That would be sweet. She has a new edition of American Scene coming out very soon. I want to buy it because I want to buy all of her books, but I have the first edition already, and it's in my top 5 for sure. But Animals, honestly, I think Animals I might like just as much as American Scene. I love animals in general, so seeing all of the people in her photos, seeing them with their animals, it's great. What's the book you got at BPS with the soft white underbelly styled portraits? Oh yeah, that's Shelby Lee Adams. That book, what's the name of that one again? Yeah, From the Heads of the Hollers. We'll look at some Shelby Lee Adams as well. This one kind of has that Shelby Lee Adams vibe. I see where that came from. Oh yeah, Matt, I'm just now seeing this. She doesn't follow the composition rules, but it feels way more personal. I find myself always trying to have a correct composition. Yeah, I get that. It's hard to... sometimes I think about that kind of thing while I'm shooting, where it's hard to turn off that part of your brain that's editing or fixing things. Everything about the way that Sage photographs feels like it all feels very fluid, very like it's in motion, despite oftentimes everything, the way she lines things up feels like everything is so meticulous. It still has this feeling of being just, I don't know, very natural and not a you know, a really aggressive kind of stance. Let's see. This one right here. It's so good. The cat's tail leading to him, the dog over here, this in the background. It's so good. Another one that the first time I saw it, I was just like, what? Frames within frames. Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is a great one too. Look at that. The expression. Oh, that's so good. Love this. All of the light right here that's bouncing off the wall, just seeing all of the grain in the wood paneling there. Just looks rich. Yeah, this is a collection of older photos. I believe mostly 80s. Let me double check again if she mentions anything about time-wise. Yeah, these photographs from the 1980s and 90s. So. Yeah. Been saying it for a while, but Sage is the best, and we only wish we could do this. This one is insane. I'll give you a minute to just like fully catch up, because there's a lot to take in. The snake in the lap, the cigarette in the mouth, all while the baby is on the floor in the carrier. And I'm assuming, I think that's a real dog with a toy in front of it. I'm not sure, but who knows the context to this photo here. Wild. I love this. Mom back here, kids climbing all over, dog in her face. Same kind of thing down here. Babies crawling all over. So many of these photos are hilarious. Oh yeah, for sure. The photo of the husky. Insane aura. Hell yeah. Love that. Dog jumping over the gate, over. Looks like they've got like a walker that's been folded up, laying on that in a picture frame. Joey. Good to have you here. Thanks for being here, brother. We're looking at Sage Sawyer animals right now. It's literally like all of these simple hand gestures and things that the right time every single time. It's how our house feels most days. 3 dogs, a cat, 3 kids. It's chaos. My early teens to teenage years were all in the 80s. Yeah, I can imagine. See, I was born in 90, so all I knew as a kid were the 90s and early 2000s when I was a teen, or mid 2000s, I guess, when I was 15, you know, 04 or 05, I mean. Yeah, what a time. It's so good. I like that they've got paintings, portraits of dogs on the wall, but monkey in the room. There's another one. What was it called? Peaceable Kingdom. That's another Sage Sawyer book that is all about rescue animals. And that's a good one as well. It's all newer work that she shot like within the last, I want to say like 10 years or so. And it's all like color, digital stuff. So totally different look than most of her books, but still her. Stop talking about it now. I'm feeling old. Yeah, most of these are shot with a flash. If I truly can't remember if she said what kind of flash when I had her on the channel. But yeah, most of these were used with a flash and a 6x9 medium format rangefinder. It's all in the story, shows it's the only thing that matters. This is like a photography class and a book. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. She's using medium format, but she's not doing medium format tricks, meaning she's not shooting with a 6x7 camera at f2.4 or 2.8 and getting a really shallow depth of field. Like, she's not playing camera tricks to make it look interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are quick slices of life that she's using mostly with a very narrow stop-down lens. Most things are in focus. Most things are wide. So she's not, you know, cutting out a bunch of distracting things or throwing it out of focus to cover up distractions, like including everything with a wider lens and stopping the lens down, and it's framed beautifully. There's no, like I said, no camera trickery or gimmick to it. It's just classic, timeless, the kind of photography that is going to age better than, you know, anyone we could hope to. So good. Oh man, this one looks like my brother's dog, Ellie. He had a greyhound that she used to race down in Florida. She was like 2 and she was retired, so she just didn't care. She wasn't much of a racer. And someplace like, I don't know, maybe 40 minutes south of here, they take in retired greyhounds and adopt them out. So she was the sweetest, but she passed in 2017, I believe. She was sweet. Speaking of that, I think we're our dog Rusi. She's 11 now. She's aging like last week's milk. So I don't know what we're gonna do. She's doing better. We got her on new medication. She's not hobbling. This is a great photo. She's not hobbling around quite as much as she was, and she's eating her food again, so that's a good sign. But love on your pets. If you got some pets at home right now, just give them a little scratch for me. You know what I mean? Give them a little pet. And then in the back here, you've got context as to where the photos were taken. Oftentimes the names of the pets as well. So cool to include that. But yeah, that is Animals by Sage Sawyer. Does black and white... Oh, let me grab my microphone. Does black and white automatically make it timeless? That's a really good question, because I think, in a way, I think it's a cheat to sort of get you there, like, at least in the right direction, because I think we naturally, maybe not now, that kids now, because it's like, I don't know, when I think about black and white, or when you think about old photos, you naturally, your mind goes to like back before there were color photos. So maybe that's part of it, but I just think it strips away so much of the distracting stuff that you're focusing so much more on the moment, and at least for me, composition. Not saying you can't have amazing composition with color as well, but I feel like if you're intentional with your composition, or if your composition is intentionally like a key part of the photo, I feel like black and white just sort of lends itself to that, if that makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a like it's a given that it's automatically going to be a timeless photo, but yeah, I would say it probably lends itself to that. You might trick people. Whether or not it actually is more timeless, that's one question, but whether or not you can trick people into it by making it black and white, that could be something there. Yeah, I don't know. I've always loved black and white, though, just because it's not as distracting. Oh, Pete, you're in New Hampshire. Right on. Yeah, yeah, in Massachusetts, most of it was sort of, northeast, a little bit kind of, I think some of the stuff she goes down to maybe West Virginia, Maryland, maybe areas around there. But yeah, she's great. Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that, Joey. Lost your cat of 18 years last week. That's tough, man. Yeah, my brother, he didn't have Ellie for nearly long enough. She was such a sweet dog, and we've been lucky that we've had Rusi and Taker now for over 11 years. She's just crazy. Peach she just turned 1, so she's a big baby. Off to bed. Thanks for the stream, Matt. Hey, thanks, Michael. Thanks for being here, man. Another benefit of deeper depth of field with animals is catching them mid zoomies. I'm sure those scenes were chaotic. Yeah, without a doubt. That reminds me. Let's see. This was one that. Oh yes, we do still have Strawberry. Didn't mean to leave that angel out. Yeah, Strawberry's doing great. She's she's fat as hell and real sassy. We wouldn't have her any other way. Let's take a look at Dog Run. Dog Run, this Michael Krauser. I bought this book from Half Price Books in, I think, Columbus, many, many years ago. And I have no idea. I don't remember him saying anything about it, but it looks like black and white film that's very contrasty in most of it. But he shot all of these photos at a dog park. And a lot of it is very tight crops, as it was said, mid zoomies, just dogs being dogs. But they have such a like dark, haunting kind of look to them. Like this one right here, just all the saliva flying off and the teeth showing. Everything is shot super high contrast. It just works really well. And I love this as well. Just the really tight crops and just focusing like on the shape. Love that. And this was just a random, I'd never heard of the photographer before, never heard of the book, but I found it in a half-price books for like, I don't know, probably $3 to $5. Just got on. What book is this? What's up, Mark? Good to see you. This is Dog Run by Michael Krauser. A random old book I found at a half-price books many years ago. But it's a good one. If you like dogs. I love this one. Just mostly all black, like nothing really visible, but just that huge dark figure over the tiny dog. That's great. Holy shit, that's amazing. My dog is growling at the TV each time you flip the page and a new dog appears. That's amazing. Just put that right up on the screen. If your dog's going nuts right now, I apologize. Interesting framing and how images are paired. Yeah, for sure. It's cool. Like, I appreciate the OCD in me would have a hard time pairing two photos like this side by side with different aspect ratios. It doesn't bother me when other people do it. It's one of those things where I'm like, damn, I wish I could do that. And I can, I get that, but it's just one of those things I struggle with, you know. I should do Cat Run. Hell yeah. Yeah. If you do Cat Run, I'll be the first one to pre-order. They feel like stills from a movie about dog dog warfare. Hell yeah. That's amazing. Catwalk. There you go. Richard gets points. Well done. That makes sense. Yeah, if you can find a copy of this one online, check out, what is it, Abe Books? ABE Books. I think that's the website. I feel like I've found a lot of the more obscure, you know, books that not everyone talks about or has on their coffee table. I feel like Abe Books has been a good resource for that. Do you remember who that photographer was who did the super wide flash photos of his naked cats? Oh yeah. I mean I don't remember who that was, but I remember what you're talking about. Dang. I can't remember who that was. I don't have the book. Whatever you say nothing. No, I don't have that one. I'll have to look into it. Does anybody have background music going? I was wondering about that earlier. I was like, I wonder if people have background music playing with their books. I've opted to stop putting music in my actual photo book videos that I make because anytime I do include music, there's always someone who's unhappy with me. And I kind of figure, well, if you want music to go with it, you can throw some on yourself. Clifton Barker. The name doesn't sound familiar. Maybe I'm thinking of someone different. Or a different book entirely, I mean. Clifton Barker. I'll have to look it up. I just have Beavis and Butthead on in the background. That's perfect. It's pretty much what my brain sounds like. My inner monologue. Actually, my inner monologue over the last few weeks has been Mike Ehrmantraut from the Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul universe. That's been my that's been my internal monologue. I just talk like Mike. What do you recommend for an everyday color filter for black and white film? Looking to add a little contrast without losing too many stops. Yeah, orange. In my opinion, orange filter. I started using an orange filter on my M6 when I was using Tri-X for probably, I don't know, it was short-lived. It was like the summer. I did it for basically one summer. And it added a nice amount of contrast. It worked well for lighter skin tones as well. But I, in the end, just felt like Tri-X was already giving me enough contrast. But yeah, orange filter, to me, I think that's a good sweet spot. I think if you're going to use a yellow filter, I don't know. I'm sure there are people who love yellow filters, so I'm not here to dunk on it. I'm just saying, if I'm going to use a filter, I want it to make a noticeable enough difference to warrant using a filter, if that makes sense. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Jonas. Yeah. Michael Krauser, Dog Run. I was about to order Roger Deakins' book, but I might buy this one instead. Okay, that's another one. Roger Deakins is one that I don't know anything about, but people will recommend sometimes that book. What's another one? Oh, this is important. David Lynch passed away recently. Everyone talks about David Lynch, and I understand he's probably made very significant impact on all sorts of things. I don't know anything about David Lynch or his movies or any of the other things, but everyone has been asking me lately what my favorite David Lynch, etc., anything is, but I don't know enough, so give me your recommendations. I've heard there's a great documentary on him as well as a book, so I'll probably check those out, but give me some David Lynch recommendations, because I'm obviously late to the party, but everyone talks about it. That's the one. Twin Peaks, I've never watched. Twin Peaks that's right. I knew it was something like a very cult classic kind of thing, but yeah, I don't know anything about it. I'll have to check that out. Roger Deakins is a phenomenal cinematographer. Okay, I need to look up his work then, because that's another one that people will bring up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here to disappoint you. I don't know that one. I dig the HP5 Matt Dayway, aka push to 1600. I used red, and it really amps up the contrast a little more than I prefer. Yeah, red has always been pretty heavy-handed on black and white film, but it can look rad. My friend Trev has shot some really rad stuff with red filters. Speaking of which, this weekend, Trev and I and Tyler and Nathan, we are all going to be going to Mansfield, Ohio. So Mansfield is where the Ohio State Reformatory is, and that's where they shot The Shawshank Redemption, as well as a whole bunch of music videos, other movies as well, but Shawshank, like the movie about the prison, that was in Mansfield, Ohio. And I've been there before, but Trev has never been there. I don't think Nathan has, and Tyler hasn't. So we're going to be going there on Saturday, and super excited. Jeremy, you got family in Mansfield, right on. Yeah, we're going to be going there specifically for a photography tour. before the place opens up to the general public. So we're going early Saturday morning, and I believe we have 2 full hours to, from what we've been told, essentially just go wherever we want around the prison and shoot photos. So I'll be making a video like about that, or making a video while we're there. Super excited for that. That's going to be fun. And I know I'm going to bring my Z8 and probably the M6 and i2. Part of me has thought about just bringing this and just calling it a day, but I'll probably bring the M6 because I know I'll wish I would have if I don't, at least for just some photos. But the i2 I'm definitely interested in. I've got some of the reclaimed green tone film for the i2, the Polaroid film. So that's going to be fun to use with the i2 there as well. So it's going to be fun. Dune. Okay, the original Dune. I haven't watched any Dune, so that's another one that people say to check out, but I don't know. He did Blade Runner 2049, Skyfall, Sicarios, No Country for Old Men. Okay. Is this... Oh, okay, this is Roger Deakins we're talking about. Got it. Oh, okay. Have an old hospital here, but it's closed to the public, and you're trespassing if you go on property, so never gone. Yeah. There's some old hospitals here as well that I always think about how I'd want to go in and take photos, but it's one of those things that, I don't know. If I was younger, maybe. I don't feel like running from the cops at this age. Bro, you gotta watch the Dune movies. Greg Fraser, the DP, is goated. I know that name. Maybe I've seen something else, or maybe I've seen people talk about Greg Fraser, and that's the only reason it rings a bell. I bet visually they're probably worth watching just for that aspect. I get that. And the story could be incredible. I have no idea. But sometimes that's what I'll tell myself I have to do in order to watch it, is I'm like, visually, even if the story sucks, just, something to watch. Having a kid means I don't trespass for photos anymore. Yeah, dude, straight up. That's how it goes. There's so much stuff now that I'm like, no. If I was younger, if I didn't have kids, maybe, but it ain't worth it now. Which photo book do you return to the most? Probably... It might be, honestly, I feel like I should say Christmas Day, Bucks Pond Road, because that's probably the one that I feel like I have gone back to over and over, more than any others. But just to make sure, I'm going to be thorough and just kind of glance through everything. Yeah. This has got to be riveting television. I believe it's probably Christmas Day, Bucks Pond Road. I've come back to that one a lot. If it's not that one, it would be Summer Camp by Mark Steinmetz. I hope that's helpful. Same feeling here about urban exploring now. Can't take any chances. Yeah, that's the way it goes when you got kids. I got Byways by Deakins if you want to flip through. Oh, right on. Yeah, Tyler, bring that by. Maybe we'll flip through it here next week or something. Greg Fraser. That's the right choice. Even got you to comment. Oh, that's right, Chris. That's funny. I forgot all about that. Yeah, good taste, man. The back of your head is ridiculous. get the reference. That sounds familiar, but I can't remember what that's from. What is that from? Do you have any books by Joel Meyerowitz? Just grabbed a copy of Cape Light and A Question of Color. Fantastic books. I think those are the only two Joel Meyerowitz books I have now. I have The Pleasure of Seeing, which it's a conversation book. It's not just straight up like a book of Joel Meyerowitz work. I used to have, what was it called? It was the book he shot at the World Trade Center. What is that book called? Someone remind me. Someone will think of it. But I gave that one to a friend. What was that book called? I can't remember. No. Aftermath. There it is. Yep, Aftermath. It's a big, big book. I got that at Ollie's, the little like bargain outlet store. We have one of those in town, and they had that there for like $5, and it's a massive coffee table book. Well, not all, but he shot a lot of large format stuff, 8x10 there, and it's wild. Yeah, Cape Light is amazing. How am I liking the Nikon? It's great. Here, you guys want a closer look at the Nikon now that we can do that? Are you familiar with Edward Bertinsky? No, I don't know that one. All right. Let's talk about the Z8. Or what questions do you have about the Z8? It is, it's a lot of camera. Look at all those buttons. You guys want to see the menus? Menus. And menus for days. This is just the photos. Video. Where's the film go? Bend over and I'll show you. Good to see you, Brian. Custom settings. Those are useful. But, you get the gist. What's this? What's all this network mumbo, you know? There's just a lot, and there's so much stuff that you would think would be in one section, and it's not. But it's great, and it works flawlessly, and the grip feels great. A lot to like about that one. So I'm enjoying it. Gonna get that new 35 f1.2? Definitely not. I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's awesome, but if it's anything like their 50 1.2, that thing looks like a Ninja blender or whatever the hell they are. It's like that tall for a 50. It's insane. Speaking of larger lenses, I think it's, yeah, got one in here that I'm borrowing. This is what I'm doing now. You got a lot of nerve talking to me like that. The 70-200, another tank of a lens. It's not, I don't know, any 70-200 lens is going to be big, but that is massive. I'm just borrowing this, though, from KEH because my friend who lives 2 doors down, they have all kinds of birds at their house that they feed every day, and all kinds of different birds are there pretty much every evening. And he's been wanting me to come over and get some photos for him that he can get printed, that I'm going to print for him. And I was like, well, I don't have a zoom lens, but I have friends who can help us. So I simply rented this just so I can get some bird photos for my neighbor, because he'll be stoked on that. So that's the kind of stuff I'm really excited about right now. You know what's awesome? Being able to be useful to people as a photographer. When I stopped doing weddings and doing paid work like that for a while, I forgot how nice that feels. And also, like, feeling useful for people and just feeling like I'm doing something that helps. I don't know. It's a good feeling. That's my favorite Stanley thermos. Yeah, dude. No doubt. Big gulps, huh? You should be used to handling something that big. No sweat. Are you going to get a vest to match the lens? Hey, I will never hate on a photo vest. It's utilitarian. I'm all about it. Yeah, the 7200, it is definitely a workhorse. But oddly enough, I think I had like one, maybe half of a wedding season where I had a 70-200. And I think I used it on a couple ceremonies, but that was it. And most of the days I pretty much stuck with a 50 millimeter. Occasionally I would have a 24-70, like if I needed it, but I would pretty much shoot 90% of the day on a 50 and then would have one wider lens or one longer lens if I needed it, but trying to stick with a 50 as much as I could. That's what I did a lot of the times. Careful, you'll end up an old bird photographer. It happened to me. Oh, dude, I would love it. Would love nothing more than being able to just walk and listen and look for birds. I mean, it's amazing. I've got the bird app. What's it called? Starts with an M, maybe. Tyler, you'll remember it. We've used it before. Samsonite. That's it. I was way off. I know you hated on the ZF, but I really want to get one this year. It's not. It's an awesome camera. I don't want anyone to think that like it sucks because I said I didn't like it. It was just the grip, and having the grip added to it definitely makes a nice difference, for sure. Autofocus, image quality, all of that stuff. When I like barely tried one out for a few hours that a friend had, it was more than awesome. You know what I mean? But it was just the grip. I was like, that's real bad. But when I got to hold one that had a grip on it, that definitely made it better. So I am going to put this lens that I'm not going to keep in some bubble wrap and bagged back up before it gets knocked off. Tell you one thing I am going to do here in the barn, most likely, is get some rubber mats down on the floor like you would see in like a horse barn or horse trailer. Get some of those down, at least in this area, because I've dropped enough stuff in this area and it's hit the solid concrete floors. That's happened enough. One time is too many, and I think this section of the barn where all of the gear is mostly going to be, I think I'm going to need to get some floor mats to give me a little bit of protection here. Thoughts on the Leica M10/11D cameras? Yeah, I don't think I've ever even tried one. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever held one or anything. I like the idea of it in theory, but for some reason I don't know. I can't physically see. I think my M6 is back here. I can't see. There's no way to see that the film is loaded properly and see, like, while I'm shooting. There's no way to see that the film has been loaded properly, or that, you know, I'm having no issues with my shutter curtain, or that my rangefinder is properly aligned. I never worry about it. I just shoot with the M6 and, you know, that's it. When I think about using a digital M and the idea of not knowing if I'm blowing my highlights, Like, trusting the meter in my M6 and trusting the film versus trusting a digital sensor, even if I were using exposure comp and underexposing to be extra safe, all the different things, there's still something about it that I found myself checking on my digital M cameras. I found myself looking at the LCD screen so much more often because I was afraid I was going to clip highlights, or the focus was going to be off. I don't know what it was. Whereas I obviously don't think twice about it because I can't with my M6, and that never bothers me. I don't know what it is about that, but I think it's not the M specifically. I think any digital camera without a screen makes me nervous because, like, film is predictable. Film is there's a science to it, and it's something that we understand at least enough to know how to treat it and know what to expect from it when you shoot it enough. You know what I mean? With a digital camera, if something is going wrong inside the camera, and like, I'm trying to think how to describe it. There's just no way. It doesn't make sense because people worry about film and, like, I don't know if it's going to turn out or this or that, but, like, film is predictable. You know what to expect when you've shot enough film that, especially most of the time, most film is pretty forgiving to the point that as long as you're in the ballpark, it's probably going to be good enough. Most scenarios. Can't say all, but there's something about a digital camera where, not that I'm, like, looking at the back of the screen and, like, chimping or whatever all the time, but there's something about it where it's like I need to make sure it's on the card and it's safe and it hasn't just, like, been, completely obliterated for no reason because it's a digital file and it doesn't really exist. Like, that gives me more anxiety than something going wrong with the developing. You know what I mean? Because it's predictable. It's something that we control. So yeah, it's the screenless digital cameras, not just Leicas, not just that specific one, but any kind. The idea of it in theory is great, but yeah, there's something about it that just makes me nervous. I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. 100% have offered all my close friends with kids family photos, and they pay me in beer. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like just being that person. It's a good feeling. Shoot with the rear screen off on a regular digital M body. Yeah, exactly. I used to put gaff tape over my X100 LCD screen. Okay, not a camera question, but I shot a documentary in rural Ohio last year. That's a wild place. Where in Ohio should I be hitting up for some good small town photography? Right here, Chillicothe. Come hang out, Chris. Where were you at in Ohio last year? If you remember the town, that's awesome. Where at should you be hitting up? Small town photography. If you really want small town, I mean, small town, but still something. Bainbridge, Ohio isn't too far from here, and the old theater at Bainbridge has hosted some pretty iconic names in country music, like absolute legends. Zanesville. Richard, that's actually where my wife is from. She's originally from Zanesville, Ohio. So we go there every so often because that's where all of her family still lives. Followed an ultra runner for a 200-mile race from Sandusky to Mason. Damn, that rules. Yeah, Sandusky's not too close around here, but most of Ohio it would be pretty similar, I would say. What if you had no rear skiing, but live view EVF? I could do that. Yeah, as long as I had some sort of like way to confirm that I can see my exposure, or just reviewing the photos like internally. And if I could only review the photos in the EVF, that would work. As long as I could see something. The idea of the digital, like the M11D and the M10D, with those, I know you can connect to the Leica Photos app, which is probably the best camera app that's out there. Like, out of all the different camera apps I've tried, the Photos app is the only one that I would actually use because it just worked when I wanted it to work. I haven't tried the Nikon app. Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't downloaded that. I have a feeling it's probably the worst. There's something about it that makes me think that Nikon's camera app is probably looks like Windows 95. That's my guess. I could be totally wrong in that, but if I had to guess, it's running pretty rough. Kokonis family. I'll have to ask my wife if she knows them. I've been to Sandusky. Nikon app is as good as the rest. So bad. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I've been to Sandusky. Yeah, I think I've been to Sandusky once before. But it's probably been years. And it was probably just passing through. Tom's Ice Cream Bowl. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, Tom's. I've had Tom's. We've got random stuff in little Tom's boxes that they sell, I think, like the peanuts and stuff in. Yeah, Tom's is a big hit. Molly's niece works there, actually. Big furniture store there in South Zanesville. Yeah, we turn there when we're driving to their house all the time. I know exactly. If it's the one I'm thinking of, the one on the corner of, probably on the corner of Maple Ave. Yellow Springs. Yeah, that's a popular one out here. It's why Nikon is transitioning for everyone to use their cloud services. Okay, I haven't used that. I've had the privilege of using Leica confocal microscopes, and by far they have the best microscopes and the best software to edit and view images. Oh, that's rad. I've always wondered what, like, Leica, Nikon, a lot of these brands have like other sections for imaging and optics and stuff. I'm always curious, like, how do they compare in that world, you know? Thanks for hanging, Chris. Agree on the photo app was one of the parts of the Q2 experience. Yeah, the Leica Photos app it's hard to use many other ones in comparison. In all honesty, they're great. Oh yeah, Zeiss. I figured Zeiss would probably make some of the best stuff too. Thanks for hanging, Jeremy. Appreciate you being here, man. Yeah, the series of like going around Ohio and visiting different places. Yellow Springs is one that we want to go to. Cleveland. Again, we're going to Mansfield this weekend, but that's not, we want to do that series of like a day in Cincinnati or a day in Cleveland. This one won't be like that in Mansfield, because in Mansfield we're going just to the prison. So, I mean, I guess we might end up checking out other stuff after that if it's a nice day. But if we're getting snow, which they're saying possibly snow in the afternoon, then we'll probably bounce because we'll have a couple hours to get back here. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. As a film shooter, do you enjoy shooting on digital? When do you choose to shoot digital over film? I do enjoy shooting digital. If it were a perfect world and gas was cheap, and all the other problems, were solved, I would shoot film for everything, because I love the process and I love the look of it and the cameras and all that stuff. But for the convenience of it, both for work and personal use as well. Like the Z8 I got mostly for photo work that I'm doing these days, and to record videos with. However, I've really enjoyed using it because I don't get as excited to use it, if that makes sense. My M6, I can sit here and just look at this thing all day while it's in my hand and just fiddle with it, and it feels great, and I love using it. And it's a camera I've used the most, so it feels natural. But I love that there is no real sentimental attachment to this thing. There is monetary value to it, obviously, but there's no extra anything that it's giving me necessarily. It's here to get me the photo. And sometimes I think photographers, we can probably get way too in the weeds with what camera is the most fun to use or what feels right, this or that. Like, I can appreciate a well-made camera, but at the same time, I can appreciate that this is going to get me there at the end of the day, just like any other camera would. And is it as inspiring to use, and is it overwhelming with all of the buttons and overly complicated menus and all of that? For sure. That's why I love the simplicity of my M6. But I also have that part of my brain that's just like, it's not about that. It's not about which camera feels great. I was talking about it to someone today. I didn't get into photography because cameras are fun. I got into it because I wanted to take pictures, and like, that's what I love about it. So you can care about those kind of things and like what camera feels right. I think that if you're using a camera that feels good to you, you're probably going to shoot more. And in that case, you're going to get more photos, meaning you're going to get better. There's an argument for that, and I get that. But I've tried to remind myself that, I think more often lately, that it's not why I got into it. So just use the path of least resistance, and in pretty much every conceivable way, that would be something like this. It's a camera that, again, I got for work, but I've been using it more and more for personal stuff. And if it's digital photos and I'm not going to be able to print in the darkroom, and I don't have the contact or the archive to know that it's physically here and it's not just going to disappear due to a corrupt drive or something, all of the benefits of film, I love all that. But the convenience of something like this, the immediacy of it, the speed, reliability, and also anytime, whether it be film or digital, I'm always making prints as well. Inkjet prints, doesn't matter if it's film or digital. So that's another aspect of it, that as long as I'm printing, digital isn't as fun maybe as film is, but the end result should always be the print anyway. Let's see. Can I get a photo book rec? I'm planning on starting to second shoot and want to get some inspiration on portraiture. The only person that comes to mind for me is Steve McCurry and Peter Lindbergh. Okay, let's talk portrait books. I'll grab some here in just a second, Mark. I see some absolute bangers hanging out on that bookshelf back there. Heisler or Eggleston, I don't have those. Gold Star or Skyline? There's a correct answer. Yeah, correct answer would be Panda Express. Path of least resistance was important for me. The cost of printing was really prohibitive for me and just made me get super behind on shooting. Yeah, I fully get that. I've always found Nikon menus to be super obtuse. I've used the Z-Line for many years professionally and still shake my head at the decisions. I used Nikon DSLRs before they even got to mirrorless. And when I opened the menus, I was shocked to find out they haven't changed, like, really at all since I used their DSLRs. All right, portrait books. We're going to look at some portrait books. Second shooting. Okay. Let's see. Okay. We got one. Nah, kind of. Portraits. Baldwin Lee, kind of. But we're talking like traditional portraiture. I mean, honestly, this is a sort of, educational-ish book. Let me lay this down right here. Mary Ellen Mark. This book is great for... There's a lot of, not just the photos themselves, but also the context to a lot of the photos, as well as just like tips in general. For instance, this one's called Let Things Happen, and there's a little blurb about that, a story about some of the photos. This kind of book I really appreciate because it gives you like practical information. It's not just the sort of like ambiguous, like, oh, you just have to feel it. It's like, well, that doesn't really give me much insight. That's a very, very helpful book right there. Another one right here, Family Portraits. This one, I got a print as well. Oh, that's not even, it's a signed Tony Hawk photo. But Mike Blayback didn't shoot it. Jamie Omens shot that. I didn't know this was in here. Should probably put that with actual proper storage. This is all black and white portraits. Let me see here. Oh, Jonas, I didn't see that. I'm sorry. But yes, I did see Vice's video. That whole series has been incredible. That was an episode of Epically Latered. That's a great episode. Also, look up on Vice the series Let It Kill You. The new episode with Nora Vasconcelos just came out like a day or two ago, and it's so good. She's amazing. Javier, thanks for being here, man. Good to see you as well. These photos, Mike Blayback, skateboard photographer, but this book, Family Portraits, the legend himself, Grant Britton. These are really great black and white portraits. Some stuff is old throwback photos. This is Carl Watson, same dude, all the years apart. Really, really rad book. Mike, I believe, has these for sale on his site. Family Portraits, it's a good one. Greg Hunt. A lot of good portrait stuff in here. Cut back to this one. Anthony Van Engelen. Let's see. Yeah, Family Portraits is a good one. Let's see. Watch tomorrow while you work. There you go. It's great, man. The episode with... I mean, really, they're all great. Ryan Townley episode's great. Yeah, they're all good. Family Portraits. Let me grab a couple more. Honestly, I'd probably have to say I'd probably have to go back to the Danny Clinch book that we were talking about earlier. That's probably one that I reference a lot for photos of people. Another one. This one isn't really portraits. It's it's more just it's just photos of a person. But Christopher Anderson, Marion. This is in the sort of trilogy he did of all of his family. So there was Marion, Pia, and I believe it's called Son. All three books. These are all more just like photos throughout life together. But it's a really good book. Again, not really portraits or anything that's going to be useful or applicable, I guess, in terms of subject matter, but at least light and being conscious of that. Oh, you've got the whole trilogy. Pia literally made me cry the first time I went through it. Yep, I totally get that. Yeah, this whole trilogy is amazing. I'm glad you have that then. Yeah, I would say, other than that, probably Danny Clinch's Still Moving. If I had to guess, those would be the main portrait books, or the ones that I would go back and forth with. Nikon menus make sense eventually. The more you use them, the more they make sense, especially after DSLR. Yeah, I think, and I even mentioned that in one of my videos, I was like, it's probably just growing pains. Like, I need to spend more time with the camera. And I think I've made a lot more use of the custom buttons as well, and just taking the time to like really map the camera out as best I can. A lot of Mark Steinmetz's work is what I look for inspiration when it comes to photos of people. That's the thing. Mark Steinmetz is always one of my favorite people when it comes to photos of people. And Sage Sawyer, who we looked at plenty earlier. But it's never, it never feels like a traditional portrait. It almost feels like he's not really there, even if they're engaging with the camera. It's really hard to put into words what it's like, but great. I miss looking through the actual lens with my old DSLRs. Tell you what, if you've been mirrorless for a while and you haven't picked up a DSLR or a film SLR and just looked through the viewfinder, yeah, it's a real treat. We're absolutely murdering our eyes with these EVFs, I'm sure. It feels good to look through the lens again. I got to try out the D800 at the school, or at the office for the school. It's like the camera that the school has had for years. I don't, who knows when it was actually last used, but when I first picked that thing up and used it, I realized just how nice it is to look through the lens again. More environmental. Yeah, absolutely. It just feels there. Yeah, there's something about it that it's hard to explain. He's a very quiet person, very gentle sounding person. So I think that probably plays a role into it as well. Using the waist level on the RB is such a different feeling. Oh yeah, I forgot you got that camera. That's awesome, man. I hope you're enjoying it. Becoming invisible is a talent. Yeah, without a doubt. Oh yeah, going from using a waist level viewfinder. Oh my god. Yeah, I was just thinking like using a waist level finder as opposed to pulling the camera up, but the actual optical difference, which is what we were talking about, yeah, it is night and day. It's so much more enjoyable to use that camera and those viewfinders on the RB and the RZ. Yeah, carry it everywhere. You'll get some muscle from it. It's worth it though. And those cameras to me, I think are, it's funny because they were meant to be, you know, sort of the studio kind of camera that's very modular. And but I enjoy carrying around the box, just the big flat bottom of a camera like that, or a Hasselblad. They're just, they're asking to be carried. I get that. Oh man. Well, this week we're going to, as I mentioned, we're going to Mansfield. We've got a few different videos coming this week. We talked earlier about, or we looked at Contact High together. I'll probably do another video on just that one, but I'll probably do another video on some other books to go along with it. If you guys have any recommendations for books you want to see in a dedicated video, let me know. I think we talked about it last week, but working on bringing back Photo Book Fridays to the channel members. Not just a look at the books, but an actual flip through and discussion, probably more in depth, where I don't have to worry about trimming the video down and making it, you know, SEO appropriate or sponsors or anything like that. Just sitting down with the book and sharing the thoughts off the cuff. Same way, kind of like what we did tonight. That's what we're looking to do in those videos, and that'll be for channel members. So if you're interested in that, hopefully in the next week, I'm going to start recording those and just batch record them. So that way every week there's a new video for you guys, looking into a new book on the shelf. But of course we'll continue doing the like live look throughs, or flip throughs here, every Wednesday night. I've enjoyed this. This has been super fun. Let me know like any feedback you have as well on this format, if there are things that would make it better. Anything at all, let me know, because I want to keep it going this way, where we just incremental updates and changes. We just fine tune it as we go. It's been awesome having all of you here each week, continuing the same conversations. I appreciate that. The Book of Everything. Oh yeah, Tim, we'll dig into that one. Let's do that maybe next week. Maybe next week we'll dig into The Book of Everything from Mary Ellen Mark. That'd be a good one. It's massive, so that'll be a fun one. Oh yeah, 8K. Oh yeah, the digital back for the RB. Yeah, no doubt. Or the RZ, I guess. Mood lighting. Love the light looseness of the format. This is my first time catching this. Love it. I'm glad. This is the first time we've actually been able to do the proper sit down flip through together like this. This is the first time I've been able to get this actually working. And we haven't had a single camera issue, so I believe the issues we were having were all stemming from just, I guess, going live through YouTube itself and not feeding it through OBS and sending the key to YouTube. Maybe that's the trick, but we haven't had a single camera drop or feed drop, anything like that. So this has been good. I appreciate all of you that have been here for this one. Magnum contact sheets. I just did a video about that one. If you haven't seen it, I just did a video about that specific book on the channel. Any gear you might have for sale soon? Nothing at the moment. No, not that I can think of. Not sure if you saw earlier, but I bought Eggleston Mystery of the Ordinary when it came out. Oh, nice. No, I didn't see that earlier, but that's awesome. Loved being introduced to Sage Sawyer. Oh, my pleasure. Trust me. Sage is incredible. Let me just give you a quick little rundown. Okay. So we've got that. These. I have to put everything back after this. All right. Zoom out here. Let's get it going. Okay. So we took a look at Animals by Sage Sawyer. This is a great one. Passing Time. I believe, yeah, I can't remember if there's flip throughs. I believe there are flip throughs in the video, but the video that I did with Sage Sawyer was around the time that this book came out. This is her most recent book that came out. It's all older photos, but most recent book. So yeah, definitely check out Passing Time by Sage Sawyer. This one was published by Nazreli Press. American Scene. This is the first edition. It's in a slipcase here. This has been out for quite a while, but a brand new edition is currently, maybe it's pre-sale right now. Maybe it's out. I'm not sure, but American Scene. This is probably my favorite, although Animals is another one. Probably close second. Perfectible Worlds. This one is definitely very different in comparison. Photographing people with their doll houses, which is amazing. Any sort of miniature anything. Photographing people with all of their things. This, like, that's incredible. This is a very different book in comparison to everything else that Sage has. Somewhat similar to Witness to Beauty, and we'll talk about that one in a minute, but very different from Animals and all of that, but just as worthy. I mean, that's so good. Amazing. Applying tanning lotion before a bodybuilding competition. Yeah, so it's all people perfecting things. Yeah. I mean, we can keep going. I can keep telling you guys that she's the best. Witness to Beauty. This book is about her mom, who was a model when she was younger. And the book, these are photos of her mom when she was younger. Some advertisements that her mom was in. And the book kind of explores her relationship with her mom aging. Can't show that. Her mom aging. Her aging as well alongside her mom and their relationship from it. Singing for the Christmas Guest, Washington, D.C., 2006. Really beautiful photos of her mom and her friends or partners. This is such a good photo here. Oh, that light is incredible. Really great stuff, though. Sage has got all kinds of good stuff. This book of her mom, Witness to Beauty. And then Peaceable Kingdom. This was the one that we talked about earlier. This is the one that is all photos of people with their animals from different animal rescues. Or maybe these are people who have rescues. I can't remember off the top of my head. But another one like this, 2013. I think this is her most recent work, probably, that I've seen published. 2011. But very similar to Animals. It's awesome to see her work shot in the same way, but shot modern. You know, this is with a flash. 2013, we were seeing a lot of stuff that was film, but it was, you know, with a flash in the interiors or of the homes. Definitely a very similar look that you can see. Like, it's still Sage's work despite looking different, you know. So yeah, Peaceable Kingdom, Witness to Beauty, Perfectible Worlds, American Scene, Passing Time, and Animals. I believe those are all of the books. Those are all the books that I own of hers. Whether those are all of her books, I'm not sure. I think I have all of them. But now with the new edition of American Scene, I'm not going to be buying that one. We'll see. I don't think I will be. Big fan of Sage's work. So, yeah, if you haven't checked out her work before, search her name on my channel and you'll find several videos that I've at least shared books of hers and then also the video with her. Check that one out. Are you hip to Eugene Richards? I know of Eugene Richards, but have not spent enough time with his work or have any books that I could recommend. The only photo book I own at the moment was a gift, and it's called Humans of New York. Oh, yeah. That's the, I've seen the photographer that kind of started that series. I feel like they were that was one of the early, like, social media projects or series that I remember seeing just on social media, seeing that Humans of New York account. I bought your new book and put up my coffee table in my VFX suite for all my clients to look at when we have client sessions. It's a great topic starter. Dude, that is amazing. Thank you so much. That's so cool to hear. That's awesome. I'm always curious, like, where the books end up. I see where they're going via the shipping labels when I'm packing each order up, but yeah, I never know. So that's really cool. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Need some Gilles Perez. Is that Gillies? Gillies Perez? Gills? I'm terrible with names. I apologize. Telex Iran copy. I'll have to look into that. Appreciate that, Jeff. I just received my copy of American Scene. Love Sage's work so much. Love to hear that. That's great. But yeah, next week we'll have another stream where we'll probably look at the Book of Everything, as Tim suggested. That's a good idea. We'll dig into that one, and maybe what I'll do... I don't need to explain everything to you guys ahead of time. We'll talk about it next week. Jim, you're heading out too. We're about to wrap up here anyway, man, so I appreciate it. Yeah. We'll talk again next week on the next stream. We have more books to get through, and yeah. I'll have more stuff to share next week. That's all I'll get into for now. But that's it for this one. If you guys have questions, thoughts, anything, go ahead and leave them in the chat. I'll let the stream keep running. Channel members, if you missed the stream and want to catch the replay for any time or any of these streams every week, the replays are up for channel members. So if you're interested in that, you can join. But yeah, thank you all for hanging. I appreciate you guys. And have a great week. I will see you guys next time.